Hello everybody, welcome back to the Rational Webcast with me, Nick, and him, Marty.
Hello there, guys.
Hello indeed. It's EGX, guys. EGX at the Birmingham NEC, and we're not there. I'm not happy about that.
Not. And it's also the home building and renovating show at the Excel in London, just in case people were feeling left out.
Fantastic.
Oh,
that
yeah.
has nothing to do with gaming at all.
Well, you never know. People might want to renovate their game. I don't know. I'm talking shit. Anyway,
want to renovate their gaming room.
So another week, another webcast. This week we're going to be talking about random subjects such as voice actor striking, the possibility of a new Wolfenstein game, release of an ancient game, and the screwing up of a relatively new remake game, as well as some interesting news with regards to virtual reality. And we're just going to, shit on Ubisoft a little bit like they do to their customers.
Ubisoft are becoming the new EA.
Yes, they most certainly. Well, they've been there for a while. EA have kind of slunk off into the background, but
I know it takes a certain amount of shithead saturation to get to the level of EA.
Yeah. I mean, Konami are there or thereabouts, but they don't necessarily shit on their customers. They just don't care about their customers.
We don't shit on you. We nothing you.
You're just seriously don't give a damn about you. Whereas EA and Ubisoft, they do something special. But yeah. Anyway, so let's start off with the voice actor strike. Anyway,
voice actors are striking for no particular reason.
What? No,
I say that, but they get paid enough as it is. Go back to work. I don't know. They are in big games. I just figure they get paid big bucks. In all fairness, though, I have actually seen a few things on video game voice actors, and yeah, they might get paid big bucks for doing a voice in a game, but then they might not get work for X amount of time. So yeah, it's not exactly the best job in the world. So
yeah, exactly. It's hardly a reliable role, but it's one that they chose to go into. But at the same time, they can request to be treated reasonably. I don't think that's unfair.
Got passion for it. I mean, yeah, it is a job like any other, and you should be supported in your choice to do that. I've got a tweet here from Will Wheaton, the great and powerful Wheaton. I love voice acting in video games, but our employers don't seem to think performance matters, so I voted yes to strike. And, well, yeah, I think that has it in a nutshell, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all know that developers and publishers aren't exactly the nicest people at times. So I find it hard to be on anybody's side other than the voice actors in this one. Yeah,
although I'm kind of concerned what will possibly suffer as a result. I know it's not quite as bad as the writers' strike in Hollywood a few years ago, but I imagine it could be something similar for gaming.
Yeah, maybe so, and I think, unlike TV, it will probably matter a bit more in games. Games are made to be cutting edge, so to push those back is a massive negative to them. So it's hardly pleasant. It's hardly ideal. But at the same time, if that's what they feel they need to do, then they can do it. And at the same time, if publishers feel that they're just being penises about it, then they can find somebody else to do it instead.
Indeed.
So
I mean, I guess if it all goes well, and the publishers accept that, yeah, these voice actors deserve to be treated better, you're only gonna up the quality of their performance in the long run. I mean, it's a give and take, like it is with everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's an interesting one. It's hard. It's in no way positive for gamers. Certainly for the time being, anyway. It might end up being positive for gamers. If in the long run we end up getting more professional voice actors and therefore better performances, but for the time being at least it's a massive negative for us, and I just hope that it can all be sorted out very quickly and amicably.
Basically, I hope the employers, as Orwin terms them, see sense sooner rather than later, because ultimately it's down to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah,
voice actors, basically, they don't owe us anything.
Nobody owes us anything.
Well, no, exactly. But it's one of those things, I suppose.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but at the end of the day, if they feel it's necessary, then I'm not going to start complaining. Not for now, anyway.
If it seems like I'm having trouble getting into this, I've never been... I know it's probably the biggest story of the week, but I've never been overly interested in the politics of how these things are done. I just want to see the creative process and the final result, not the quibbles that go on inside it all.
Yeah,
I know it happens, but
yeah, I don't feel there's much need for it to be very public as it has been. I mean, it's for me, a lot of this could just be done behind doors, and I feel like the powers that be are trying to manipulate the masses so that they can get support on their side, which is completely unnecessary, and I feel won't necessarily work in their favour anyway.
Well, I think it's as public as it is, with this especially, is because, to my knowledge, there's never been anything quite like this, especially not in terms of the video game voice actors. They've just always been an assumed part. They're just like, oh yeah, they'll just do what they need to do and won't complain about it. And now bigger games are getting bigger voice actors and bigger parts and everything. I mean, you look at like games 5-10 years ago, they didn't necessarily have all too much voice acting, and even if they did, it wasn't spectacularly good. But now you've got like big names in voice acting, like Nolan North, Jennifer Hale. Is it Jennifer Hale? Is it?
I have no idea.
I know. I think I saw this one.
Meh.
I don't
Regardless,
know. Anyway.
I think it. Yeah, as you say, it's something that was couldn't possibly have been a problem, say 20 years ago. 10 years ago, there were probably just enough of them that if they wanted it to be a problem they could, but now we've got enough games that specifically require voice actors that it can be an issue. And anything that can be an issue will be an issue. That's just the way of life. So we're in this position.
I think the biggest voice actor for gaming back in the day was probably John St. John of the Duke Nukem fame. And all he really said was, a variety of swears. Why is a Duke Nukem line not coming to me right now? As if that's
a whole bubblegum thing.
Bastards gonna shut up my ride. Or something. Yeah, it's time to kick ass and chew bubblegum. Put them all out of gum. Why did I just have to put that impression on the internet?
I don't know. It wasn't even very good. But still, you tried, and I think that people will appreciate that. So well done,
you
Nick.
Should try.
Round
Please
of applause. I've never played a Duke Nukem game.
What?
Yeah, that can be I used to play for you, but for me it would be I've never played.
It was I used to play this week.
I know. That's why I said it.
Fair enough. Okay, you need to play that game.
Yeah, I might do at some point. I don't know.
While you were playing all these Fantasy World Dizzies and Kirby's Adventure, I was playing Duke Nukem 3D.
I did actually play both of those games. I mean, Dizzy's fantastic, and
you did?
Kirby's
Seriously?
even better. Yeah, I played both of those. I used to love platformers. Platformers are my jam.
Platformers are one thing, but Fantasy World Dizzy?
What's wrong with Dizzy? It was a fucking egg. I'm sorry, if you could tell me anything that's better than an egg, I'll give you this mug I've got just in front of me.
I can tell you what's wrong with Dizzy. He's a fucking egg.
There's nothing wrong with an egg.
Tell Puss in Boots that. Tell the film Puss in Boots that. That was a really good film apart from the egg. I hated the egg.
It was a really good film apart from the film. That was a naff film.
It was a good film.
It was never a good... You just like cats too much.
I love Puss in Boots.
You just love cats.
Yes, I do.
Go away and watch the theatre production. They don't hate cats.
I am at my parents' this weekend, and she has 4 cats.
One
How many
of which
cats
is
do you
called
have?
Laura, by the way.
Yes, I know. We named her after Lara Croft. Deal with it.
Oh, I've dealt with it. I've had several sessions with a psychiatrist about it, and I still don't feel good about it.
I've got one cat named after a chocolate bar, another one named after a constellation, another one named after a video game character, and then there's the 4th one, which we didn't even name.
So, after that enlightening conversation about why Nick is a crazy cat man, let's move on to Wolfenstein 2. So,
Yes.
if we're talking about voice actors, may as well go to a voice actress, which should clearly be sacked. And she's hinted that Wolfenstein 2 may well be on the way.
Yeah, it's interesting news, but it's kind of a dickish move for somebody to come along and say, "Oh yeah, this might be in it."
Exactly, it's just ridiculous. I don't see the point of it. I almost feel bad that we're giving this person any form of time.
That's kind of like what's her name who did the voice for GLaDOS coming out and saying Half-Life 3 confirmed.
What?
You know, the woman who did the voice for GLaDOS.
Yeah.
That's like her coming out and saying Half-Life 3.
Oh, I thought you were saying that she did come out and say that. That would be news.
That would be news.
I'd
but
care about that.
In the same vein, it would still be kind of dickish, you know.
Well, yeah, but it'd be Half-Life 3. I'd care about that.
And you don't care about Wolfenstein New Order?
No.
I've not actually got round to playing the New Order, but from all accounts, it is amazing.
Yeah, I've watched a few bits of playthroughs of it. It looks really good, to be fair. It looks...
You fight Nazis on the moon.
Yeah, and not in a bad way.
And you get a laser cannon.
Yes, yeah. But it looks pretty good. It looks interesting. It looks like a good twist. Probably a more modern Duke Nukem in a way.
Yeah, I would imagine you could say the New Order is what Duke Nukem Forever should have been.
Yeah, I don't think that would be too unfair. Duke Nukem Forever being trash.
Steaming pile of dog shit. Yes.
And
the game is so bad for so many reasons.
Yeah, again, I've not played it, but I'd rather not.
The ending is despicable.
Yeah. I mean, we won't spoil that for listeners, obviously, but still, interesting to know.
Spoil. Anyway, Alicia Bachleder. Do you want to try to say this name?
James Bucklaver.
James Bucklaver? What?
I don't know, I just said a random name. I don't care.
I can't say her name.
Good.
Anyway, this voice actor, she played Anya in The New Order. I think that was Blazkowicz's other half in that game. Says it could take a few years, but it may be coming. Whether that's to say it is actually going to turn up, that nobody knows, because, you know, the turnaround of games in this climate. Oh, there's a new game coming. Cancelled.
Yeah, and the budget on them is so massive that even if a game is going to be coming, it's going to take a few years to get moving anyway.
I mean, the fact is, the New Order 2, or whatever they may call it, the newer Order, the more ordering of the New Order, I don't know, could have been coming, but this very story could stop it, you know. It's like Half-Life 2 was almost derailed because of the infamous hack that went on, and somebody leaked pretty much the entire beta for it, and they had to rebuild half the game.
Yeah, and again, if we look then towards Portal 2, the script for Portal 2 got leaked, and they had to essentially rewrite the game.
Yeah, and you know, it's they should be fine because it's Bethesda, and Bethesda have such a big weight to them that they should be able to push it through. But I just don't want anybody to really get their hopes up especially not at this point, just from an offhand comment.
Yeah, I hope that voice actress doesn't get her hopes up for landing a new job.
I mean, she does, by the quote, she doesn't actually mention the name Wolfenstein anywhere. The quote here is, "I'm working on a video game, first part of which I have already made. Now I'm making a second one, which will take 2 more years. I played this game as a child. I was very happy when I got to the point where I could shoot Hitler."
Yeah, I mean, there aren't many other games that she could be talking about.
No, but
and she's obviously a penis.
Fantastic insult there, Marty. She is indeed a penis.
Yeah, it's one of my favourites. Not in that way. No homo.
Sure. Which part do you like? I like the Bella. Never mind.
I would
Moving
never
on.
use that term. Anyway, so let's talk about, I don't know. Oh yeah, that System Shock Enhanced Edition released on GOG. Interesting.
always-
Came out of nowhere. Nobody cared about it. Nobody asked for it, but it just
Always
suddenly
nice
appeared.
to see old games get remastered or enhanced in some other way, though. And System Shock was such a major game back in the day that I think it should have deserved really more fanfare than it actually did.
Yeah, but I don't believe they even kind of attempted to market it in any way, shape, or form, did they? It just kind of appeared one day.
I think System Shock fans will know of its existence. They're psychic or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it to be fair, it looks like a decent remake. Well, sorry, it's not remake, it's just enhancement.
Yeah, it's enhancement. So it's. I think they've probably done good with this one because doing a remake is generally bad news because they inevitably screw it up somewhere. Whereas an enhanced version, there's nothing to screw up. Not really. What can you do? Polish the graphics, give it a higher resolution, maybe work out some of the less intuitive stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And as you say, the main thing that they've really done from what I've seen is the polishing.
And mouse look.
Yeah.
Don't forget mouse look.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like they've done a decent job. I mean, again, it's another game that I never played, System Shock, so I can't necessarily comment on how it would affect the gameplay. But judging by the fact that it's a relatively old game, it's probably done something positive to it.
We're not exactly selling ourselves as decent gamers this week, are we? I think we've said about more games we haven't played than ones we have.
Yeah, fair dues.
All that you've really said you've played is Fantasy World Dizzy.
Well, yeah, but Dizzy's awesome. It's a fucking egg. What don't you get about this, Nick? It's an egg that jumps on shit.
I could crack him open and use him in an omelette.
Pardon?
An
omelette. I thought you said
Yes.
something very different.
What did you think I said? Or cannot it be used on this podcast? Bearing in mind, you have used the term fucking egg several times now.
I do quite like my inflection on that. No, I thought you said noblet. I don't believe that's a real thing, so I think I can say it.
Ah, yes, we're back to your interest in peni.
Pardon?
You're
I mean, I
back to
do
me
have an
your-
interesting penis, but still.
Who doesn't have an interesting penis? At least a vested interest.
So yeah, I mean, have you got anything else to say about this System Shock thing? I mean, this is probably more your bag than mine.
No, I think I've said everything I need to say about it. It's there. It's on GOG now. Go.
Yeah, if you want to see where other games such as BioShock came from, you may as well check it out. Why not? Costs barely anything. Looks pretty cool.
It is a piece of gaming history, though, and like you say, BioShock came from it. The unparalleled BioShock Infinite came from it.
Whoa, are you saying that? You say BioShock Infinite is better than BioShock?
In many ways, yeah.
Whoa!
I'm gonna hate for this one. BioShock was a great game, but I kind of felt like it gelled more with BioShock Infinite.
Why?
I don't know, probably because of the multiple universe thing going on.
I mean, that was pretty cool, but
I'm very big on that.
Yeah, I just feel like the storyline and just the complete, absolutely and utterly tense feeling that you had throughout the whole of BioShock is just unparalleled still.
Plus, no, BioShock Infinite also gets probs because of how good BioShock was. And massive spoilers here, turn off in the next minute or so if you don't want to know spoilers for BioShock Infinite, but if you don't know by now, you probably will never play it. You have played it, haven't you?
Yes, yeah, most certainly have.
Is the point where you go to Rapture. I mean, just having that crossover makes it better.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's got its own world, its own amazingly fleshed out world, and it's got Rapture as well existing in the same universe. So it's got kind of the awesomeness, its own awesomeness, plus the awesomeness of BioShock on top of it.
Meh. I don't know.
Meh.
Personally, I feel like the storyline was subpar in comparison. But I will give BioShock Infinite props for being one of the most colourful games of the last generation, at least.
It wasn't grey.
Yes, exactly, which is a major positive. Though nowadays we're starting to get more games that aren't grey. It's a good time to be alive.
Yeah, I guess. BioShock 2 was...
Yeah, we'll pretend that didn't happen because it wasn't made by the same people anyway.
We seem to have scooted onto BioShock, so we might as well...
Yeah, let's talk about BioShock on the App Store.
Let's talk about BioShock. Have we not been talking about BioShock for the past 20 minutes?
Shut up. So, BioShock. So, not long ago, earlier this year, I think, BioShock was released on the iOS App Store. Again, one of those weird moves that nobody really expected and nobody really wanted, but people bought anyway because it was BioShock, and everybody liked BioShock.
How are you gonna play it on a tablet, really? And I think that they knew this. How are you gonna play it on a tablet? Oh, it doesn't matter. It's BioShock. People will pay for it. You know, they'll be like, look, I've got it on the tablet. What are you gonna do with it? I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much.
Doesn't matter. It's BioShock.
Yeah, you'd have to buy one of those weird controller things, which nobody really wanted to do. But still, it was there, and it looked pretty... I mean, it looked really nice, considering it was on iOS. But at the same time, it was BioShock on iOS, when you could just play it on a decent console or PC, whatever.
I've got the impression it was a test rig, because you say it looked that good. Mm-hmm. It's not exactly... I mean, it came out a few years ago, but for a tablet device, it's got to be pushing the hardware. So, like, you've got all these other kind of mobile games now that, yeah, they look pretty good, but, you know, you can see how they're done. They look maybe, PS2 graphics era. BioShock actually looked decent, and it was kind of like a test of concept that, yes, the tablet devices can now support stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that the thing that a lot of people don't necessarily realise when they start bringing these games out on tablets and handheld devices is the fact that it's not like a console. You can't just kind of bring it out and then you're pretty much done with it, although that's not necessarily the case nowadays. You have to constantly be updating it. With every release of a new operating system, you have to update the game. There's no way around that anymore. It's
operating systems for tablets come out like Billio.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a ridiculous scenario, but it's one that we're in. And the developers of this game did not necessarily take any notice of that, and it's been broken for quite a while, and nobody's necessarily done anything about it. But they then got to the point where 2K not only then pulled it from the App Store because it didn't work, but also pulled it from people's purchase histories. So people that had bought the game had to get rid of it off their tablet because they needed more room or whatever. Suddenly couldn't re-download a game that they'd purchased.
See, that is stupid. That's kind of like having, say, GTA 5 on Steam, having to take it off, then going to reinstall it and being like, oh no, you can't. But I paid 40 quid for this.
Yeah, exactly. No, the whole question of ownership of digital games then comes into question.
Yeah. Well, they like to say you don't... A lot of people now stand at their point that say you do not own digital anything, movies, games, music. You merely rent them. Mm-hmm. Or no, you have license to... You have a license to it, and they can revoke that license at any time. kind of like a piece of commercial software.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the approach they're trying to take with a lot of these things now, so they can get away with pulling it from the store and your purchase history, and there's nothing you can do about it, even though you've paid Christ knows how much for it.
Exactly, it's an absolute farce of a scenario that we're currently in, and one that I would not suggest that other developers kind of go down the same route as. Yeah, I mean, there haven't been many other stories of something like this happening, but a lot of things that this happens to are just small apps, apps that nobody really cares about. But because this is a big name, this is the first one that's really been pulled up as being something that's an issue.
Again,
I mean, another game that this
a...
is a similar thing has happened to is The World Ends With You, which went down and the game stopped working. So these things happen quite often, but it's whether anything happens then to negate the issue. Apparently, this game is now going to be developed again, going to be patched, and then they're going to re-release it. Would that have happened if people didn't start shouting out about it? I really don't know.
That just even more confirms the fact to me that it's a tech demo, showing that tablet devices are able to do this, and the fact they're tweaking with it, basically. They're like, oh no, it didn't quite work, so we'll take it back, try it again. And they're just trying to pump a little bit more pocket money out of it.
Yeah, I suppose maybe, yeah.
Maybe. These big developers, these big publishers even, no matter how good you may think they are, they'll always be up to make an extra buck or two.
Oh no, I'm not trying to debate whether they're trying to make an extra buck out of it. That's no question about that at all. They're a business, but
actually, especially Valve. What the hell do you call all that shovelware on Steam at the moment?
Don't get me started on that. Stupid green light.
Speaking of Steam, Deadpool's back on Steam, and it has been for a while now. I don't know why I hadn't said about it before, but it's on sale this weekend. Buy it!
Okay. I mean,
Please.
I've not played it. Is it good?
I don't care. It's kind of mediocre gameplay, but it's Deadpool! It is funny!
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's £15 on Steam at the moment. It's one of those games that was well noted because it kept on breaking the fourth wall, which obviously Deadpool is famous for anyway. But yeah, it's meant to have been pretty funny.
Not the fact that the gameplay is like any good. You've got your general kind of third-person run and gun kind of gameplay. That's not really anything to write home about. But it's just the fact that they've actually been able to port Deadpool completely from the comics, personality intact, is what makes it so good. And they took a risk by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate the risk they took in doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
anyway,
that's fair enough.
They put it got taken off of Steam and all other PC distribution services quite a while ago now. And basically, they took it off the PC platform, and for licensing reasons, Activision, stuff like that. And a while ago, they put it back on, which I was ecstatic about. And the only thing that makes me bring it up now is just because I remembered it was on sale. I don't know. Ramble. I am rambling. Stop me, please.
Yeah, I'm also looking forward to, if we're talking about it, the new film that they're bringing out. That looks pretty cool.
That does look pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I fingers crossed. I always wanted it to come out, and when they leaked the trailer, I was the first on it. It looks brilliant, and yeah, fingers crossed.
What part of the trailer did you enjoy most? The bit where he sniffed his guns, the bit where he shot 3 guys through the head, or the bit where he belittled his character in Green Lantern?
Oh, was that Lantern. Bit? Yeah, where he asked for his suit not to be green, nor CGI. That was brilliant.
I think that in itself there shows that they've gone to get it right this time, because that in itself is kind of breaking the fourth wall in a lot of ways.
Oh, and the bit where they talked about him being Deadpool before, but they said they didn't understand why they sewed his mouth shut.
Yes.
That was brilliant. They know what they're doing with this one. I mean, they've got the right idea, and fingers crossed they don't fuck it up.
And by the looks of it, that you know the test footage that was leaked online a while ago, it looks like they've refilmed that shot for shot.
Yeah, some of it really was just the same thing, wasn't it? Again, which was it's nice to see that they're trying to stick to what worked in the first place.
I think the test footage was actually CGI though, as far as I heard.
Yeah, it was.
But they've actually shot it now, and they've shot it so well.
Mm-hmm.
It's genuinely surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I was all for it being CG, purely because the original trailer was so good. But they proved that they could do it in real life, and that's worth looking at.
I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, definitely.
High hopes.
I'm on board. Anyway, were we talking about BioShock? Let's have a chat about the Oculus Rift. More news,
again,
more stuff.
Did we not talk about the Oculus Rift last week?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, but that's because we're excited about it.
I am excited for the Oculus Rift. I have recently bought Elite Dangerous because that's also on sale this week.
Yep.
And I heard about Oculus Rift support for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. That mind blown, especially when you go into frame shift between star systems. Oh fuck. I'm so geekgasm type thing. Have you actually seen anything of Elite Dangerous?
I've not seen much of it. I mean, I've certainly heard about it, seen bits and bobs, but...
think of the bit in Interstellar where they go through the wormhole.
Mm-hmm, yep.
That's what the frame shift looks like, kinda. Just kind of cooler. It's first person. Imagine that on the Oculus Rift.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever seen anything of No Man's Sky?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, that's what I'm personally looking forward to, and sincerely hoping that they bring out in some form of VR.
What really are you going to be able to do in No Man's Sky, though?
Anything.
Are there going to be missions and stuff?
Well, not particularly. You just survive.
Yeah, but is it not going to be like every other survival game and its wife? Like, oh yeah, now I'm surviving for a bit, I'm bored. Like in Elite Dangerous, yeah, you can go around the universe, but the universe is so unbelievably huge that would get too mind-boggling with nothing to do. But you can get missions and rank up and all that kind of jazz, and there's overarching stories, and I don't know, I haven't even scratched the surface on it yet. But basically, what's going to be the focus, the point in No Man's Sky?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly an element of the kind of exploration of it. There's the idea that you can rank up and build up your arsenal and in your ship and so on, and bits like that. So you can choose to be kind of a trader and things like that. But also,
I'd be excited for No Man's Sky if it had a goal. I mean, even like World of Warcraft has goals. You have storylines in it.
Just about to explain it, and then you totally talked over me. I mean, God. Then the other thing is that as you get closer towards the centre of the universe, it's meant to get more dangerous. You see more enemy ships, more issues. So the idea is that there's something at the centre of this universe, and if you want to, you can try and find out what that is. But it's going to take some serious firepower to do so.
That's what they said about Spore, though.
Well, Spore is different, because Spore was shit.
You just plough through the grog with planet. That's what I did. I built about 20 planet busters and just nuked every single planet I came across.
That sounds like you whenever you play Civ. I think that's just how you approach these things.
I didn't nuke you too many times.
Yeah, well, no, because I nuked you first, if I remember rightly.
Ah, there you go then. It sounds like you then, doesn't it? So that's actually a scaringly accurate depiction of real life politics. You're bad with nukes. I didn't nuke you. You nuked me. Yeah, well, I didn't want you to nuke me first. It's called mutually assured destruction, and it's stupid. Anyway, there's going to be Oculus Rift ready PCs for under $1,000, which is in real money about 700 quid.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
That's not bad.
And it's interesting that they're specifically looking to bring out PCs with a note on them stating Oculus Rift ready, so that the average consumer knows what they're doing.
Then again, the rigs they're thinking of having Oculus ready PCs for aren't nearly as good as mine. So
Well, they're not far off, are they? I mean, they've got to have at least kind of a GT 970, as I understand.
No, the graphics card is the same because I've got a 970. The CPU drastically not nearly as good. I've got a hex core i7 5 something. I can't remember what it is. An 8 gig plus RAM. Yeah, that's good. That's decent.
No, I just want all listeners to note that this is the second week in a row that Nick has bragged about his PC.
I am part of the glorious PC gaming master race now. I've earned my right to brag about it. Anyway, your PC is not exactly shabby anymore, is it?
Well, it's not shabby, but it's by no means a monster like that. And
well,
I got a new PC at work that they were telling me was fantastic. Turns out it's as good as my PC. I now have essentially the same rig at work as I do at home.
I wish I had the same rig at work as I had at home. I've got a shitty little laptop.
Oh well.
And again, I don't think they're going to put high power graphics cards in the ones at work. That would be interesting. Go to work tomorrow and they'd be like, "Here's a Titan X." Why the fuck not?
Yeah, pretty much.
I tried to convince
some of the guys at work do have ridiculous rigs, but
I tried to convince my fiance because she works in science that she needed to do some high-end rendering and to ask for a Titan X so she could bring it home to me. I couldn't afford a 970, but I got one anyway, and I can't even imagine having a Titan X, let alone the people who have two. When it first came out, I read somebody who said about I've got a Titan X now. What should I do? Let's do it in SLI and put two of the bloody things in his rig. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. There's absolutely zero need for it at the moment unless you're trying to run a Ubisoft PC port. So it's just a farce.
I don't think even that would help with the Ubisoft PC port, to be fair.
Speaking of which, let's talk about Ubisoft.
They're being dicks again.
Yeah, I mean, it's not very often you get a company being a triple dick, but they've managed it.
There's got to be some kind of a record. He's a triple dick. There's 3 of them.
Yep. It's in all 3 holes. It's an absolute farce.
My god!
That they are genuinely trying to rape their customers. It's just ridiculous. So essentially, we're talking about the Rainbow Six Siege beta. Which people who were pre-ordering Rainbow Six Siege got access to the beta. And now there are a few issues with this, full stop. They were guaranteed access to the beta, and on a very specific day, and they were told that the game would be beta for so many days, and that it would be this, that, and the other. Now they were told that it was going to be for 12 days. It ended up being 4 days, and they just didn't tell anyone. They also said that they were going to be guaranteed beta access on a specific date, and people just didn't get their keys. This includes people that specifically pre-ordered so that they could get access to this beta. I mean, they ended up, instead of sending all the beta keys out at once, they sent them out in waves. I mean, it's just an absolute farce. Just from start to finish, they were false advertising, they were lying, and they were just being absolute shitmongers.
Would you say it's worse than a triple cock orgy that gives you asthma attacks?
You know what, Nick? I would go on record as saying yes.
Because that your comment almost gave me an asthma attack.
Yeah, sorry about that. But it's true.
Comedy. No, it is. It is completely stupid. You pay for something, you expect to get that something. Even the aforementioned piece of crap Duke Nukem Forever didn't even do this. When people actually pre-ordered that game, and like 10 years down the line, when it finally got released, their pre-order slips were actually accepted by some places.
Rightly so.
If they can do that, Ubisoft can't even keep up their newest game. People have paid for this exclusive beta access. I mean, I don't agree with paying and going that far to try and get it just a few more days earlier. But I mean, if you have, then you should get it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this goes into another game of Ubisoft's, Anno 2205, I think it was. That they paid for. Again, they pre-ordered the game so that they could get into the beta, and Ubisoft just completely cancelled that one. Didn't give a shit. They just cancelled the beta for no reason whatsoever.
They just completely cancelled the beta for Anno.
Yeah. Just nothing else. They just cancelled it.
They really are becoming a new AA.
Yeah. I mean, they're certainly trying their best. Absolute penises. The only difference, though, with EA is...
Reference to penises in this webcast has reached about... it's over 9,000!
We're reaching penis capacity!
Can't take any more penises!
Friday night coming back to me. Yeah, so it's just an absolute farce. So, I mean, if people haven't already got the message and, they need some further explanation, just don't pre-order anything anymore. There's no reason to pre-order the vast majority of games anymore.
Don't pre-order, don't do unsanctioned or untested early access games. Basically, use your common sense. Don't get caught up in the hype.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's only going to bite you in the arse.
Yeah, for some reason, video gamers continue to not be savvy. They're very technical minded. They know what it is that they're buying. For some reason, they do get sucked into this hype more so than anybody else. And I can't necessarily say much. I do to an extent too. For example, the Oculus Rift. I am absolutely sucked into that hype. I think that it's the next big thing, and I'm more than happy to look into it when it comes out.
Oculus Rift has proven its way, though. It's been knocking about for years now.
Yeah.
In various different stages of development and concept. It's not like it's just come... I mean, how long ago was Rainbow Six Siege announced? Not a great deal of time ago. And people are scrambling to get at it. And that's one of the more higher profile betas. I mean, you look at, like I say, the early access stuff. People just go and buy it. And then bitch and moan when it doesn't turn out anything like they wanted, or it doesn't get finished or something. If you're going to get an early access, make sure that it's something you want to play in the state it at least is. I mean, I bought early access, yeah. I bought Kerbal Space Center in early access. But I thought the price that I paid for that, the game in its current state at the time, was worth it. And since then, they've only piled more stuff onto it, which made it vastly better. So, don't keep running into things without at least researching them.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of going into something like Kickstarter as well. People complain that the Kickstarter was never finished, or the funds were used incorrectly, or whatever. You're taking a risk whenever you do these things. You're taking a risk when you pre-order. You take a risk when you use Steam Greenlight.
Well, it's paying for unfinished products. It's paying sometimes for products that haven't even been started. It's paying for an idea.
Yeah, you're paying for something that's unproven. And
it's
such,
great
when it doesn't work out, don't be surprised.
It's great for people who might have a brilliant idea and just need the money to do that. But there's also a lot of people out there who will try and screw you over. So, in a lot of ways, it's difficult to say, just don't do it at all. Because, some of these people who might have a brilliant idea, fascinating concept, and just need the backing to do it, and they could go on and do it. And, reface the entire look of gaming. But there's also, like I say, the people who will just screw you over, who just want to go, oh yeah, no, I just built this crappy skeletal model, now give me all your money. I mean, there has been news about that, and it made Steam have a big crackdown on this stuff. So I don't know. It's a sticky wicket.
Yeah, definitely.
And we get back to your Friday night.
I'd rather leave the past in the past, Nick. And the other thing with Rainbow Six
How is
Siege
Big
as well
Dave?
is that, interestingly, though a lot of other games have got over this hurdle, it's going to run at 1080p on PS4 and only 900p on Xbox One. As I say, the majority of games nowadays are just running exactly the same on PS4 and Xbox One. It was only the first kind of couple of waves of games that were specifically superior on PS4. So it's interesting to see that this game is going to hark back to...
How is 900p even a thing?
I don't really know. I don't... Yeah. It's just the best they can do, isn't it?
I still find it funny that the consoles struggle to do 1080p and 60 frames a second now, when PCs have been doing it for the past decade at least or so.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, to an extent, that's kind of unfair. When you look at the fact that games have also come on massively in those last few years. So you can't really compare something that would have run at 1080p at 60 frames per second 6 years ago to something that can run at that now.
To be fair, that's true. The game is a lot more complex now, but I don't know. I think there's an artificial barrier standing in the way of a lot of console gaming. Mm-hmm. Like you say, it's 1080p on PS4, 900 on the Xbox. Mm-hmm. No reason for it, just cause.
Well, I mean, there are reasons for it. That's a little bit unfair again.
Reasons that are not insurmountable.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with that. That if it's true that they were just unable to specifically get it up to 1080p on Xbox One, then they should change something about it to get it up to 1080p on Xbox One. I mean, there are always compromises that have to be made. I don't know. Maybe they've made the right ones, but it just seems weird that when so many other games have managed to find a configuration that will lead to semi-equal footing between the two consoles, that Ubisoft for some reason is still unable to do that.
I still think they should implement graphics settings on a console, because it would be completely viable. After all, a console is just a piece of hardware that runs it, so you should be able to, like you can on PC, choose whether you want performance or graphics. It doesn't seem like a big deal to me, not really, and I don't know why console gamers are deprived of that.
Well, the joy of having a console is that you don't have to muck about with these things.
But if it was
a disc in and it works.
If it was an option though, not compulsory, but if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see an argument there for it. That if Xbox One users wanted to have it at 1080p, they could then change the FPS down to 30 or whatever. But I don't know.
Maybe it's just because I've been a PC gamer all my life. It's just ingrained in me so very much. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it is obscure turning on a console game, seeing the menu and not being able to have graphic settings. And if there is graphic settings, it's like, oh, brightness.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, I think we've rambled on enough for this week. I want to go to EGX. Please. Maybe next year.
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed I can't go to it. But still, I'll look forward to hearing about it from Carl.
Yes. Your friend's going.
Yeah, brother-in-law. He's wandering to it this weekend on Sunday, so hope he has a good time and everything else. But yeah,
maybe he can bring back some juicy information, juicy knowledge for the webcast next week.
Yeah, certainly hoping so. Because unfortunately, you're leaving me, aren't you?
I am leaving. Not permanently. I'm going around the world for 2 weeks, so I probably will not be here for the next 2 webcasts, in which time Marty will be finding us some special guests.
Yeah, exactly. I've got my brother-in-law Carl, who's a brilliant guy, very knowledgeable in gaming. He's going to be having a chat with us. As I say, he's gone to EGX this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see what he comes back with. And it'll be different, and I certainly look forward to Nick being back. But at the same time, I'm definitely looking forward to chewing the fat with Carl.
Get some new fresh blood in.
Exactly.
I'm interested in seeing what Hong Kong's like.
Bet you are.
Maybe I can go to Hong Kong and play some Shadowrun Hong Kong. Oh.
I genuinely don't know what you've just said. It sounded like something that my 2-month-old would say.
Shadowrun Hong Kong.
Very good. But yeah, so
look it up.
I hope you have a good time, and I hope our listeners have a good week.
Have a good week, listeners. Don't mess up my podcast next week, Marty.
Oh, I most certainly will. Thanks very much, guys.
See you next week. No, you'll see you next week. I'll see you in 3 weeks.
Yep, see you soon. Cheers.
Bye.